On a calm night, March 8, 2014, Kuala Lumpur International Airport hummed with its usual rhythm. Passengers, like countless others before them, filed onto a Boeing 777. The atmosphere was one of routine travel, a mix of quiet anticipation and sleepy calm. This was Malaysia Airlines Flight 370, bound for Beijing. The plane gracefully lifted off, a beacon of light climbing into the dark expanse of the night sky, beginning a journey that would soon become one of the greatest mysteries in modern aviation history. Inside, everything appeared normal. The pilots navigated the aircraft from the cockpit, a space of focused professionalism. In the cabin, the flight attendants moved with practiced ease, serving drinks and ensuring the comfort of the 227 passengers on board. The flight was proceeding exactly as planned, a smooth passage through the night. Then, at 1:19 a.m., a final, seemingly routine message was transmitted from the cockpit to Malaysian Air Traffic Control. "Good night, Malaysian 370. These would be the last words ever heard from the flight. Just moments later, the aircraft's transponder, the device that communicates its position, abruptly ceased to function. On civilian radar screens, flight MH370 simply vanished. In the quiet control rooms on the ground, a ripple of confusion quickly escalated into full-blown alarm. Air traffic controllers stared at their screens, the blinking dot that was MH370 now gone. They tried hailing the plane, again and again, sending radio calls out into the silent night, but there was no response. The digital ghost had disappeared without a trace, leaving behind a void of information and a growing sense of dread. What was happening thousands of feet above the South China Sea? The silence from the aircraft was absolute and terrifying. Unseen by any civilian radar, the massive Boeing 777 did something completely unexpected. Instead of continuing on its northeasterly path to Beijing, it made a sharp, deliberate turn back towards the Malaysian peninsula. Military radar, which operates differently, managed to track the unidentified aircraft as it flew across the peninsula and out over the Strait of Malacca. But who was flying the plane? And why were they so far off course? The aircraft continued its silent, ghostly journey for hours, flying south, away from any scheduled flight path, into the vast, empty expanse of the southern Indian Ocean, one of the most remote places on Earth. When the sun rose, the world awoke to the shocking news. A commercial airliner with 239 people on board was missing. The initial search and rescue operation immediately kicked off, focusing on the plane's last known position in the South China Sea. Ships and aircraft from multiple nations converged on the area, scanning the waves for any sign of debris, any oil slick, any clue that could point to the plane's fate. The days were filled with frantic activity, the nights with anxious waiting. The families of the passengers and crew gathered, their faces etched with a mixture of hope and anguish, clinging to every news report, praying for a miracle. But the South China Sea yielded nothing. As analysis of the military radar and satellite data came in, the horrifying reality began to set in. The search was in the wrong place. The new data, which included faint electronic pings from the aircraft to a satellite, suggested a completely different and far more daunting scenario. The plane had not crashed in the South China Sea. It had flown for hours after disappearing. Investigators drew two massive arcs across the globe where the plane could have ended its flight, one stretching north into Central Asia, and the other arcing deep into the southern Indian Ocean. Given the amount of fuel on board, the southern corridor became the primary focus. The search area shifted dramatically, moving to a desolate stretch of ocean west of Australia. This was a search unlike any other in history. The sheer scale of the new search zone was staggering, covering millions of square kilometers of some of the roughest and deepest waters on the planet. It was a multinational effort of unprecedented proportions. Dozens of ships and aircraft from countries around the world joined the hunt, a testament to global solidarity in the face of tragedy. The daily images broadcast to the world were haunting. Specialized search planes flying low over an endless, churning sea of blue-gray waves. Advanced sonar equipment was towed by ships, methodically scanning the dark, unknown depths of the ocean floor, a landscape of underwater mountains and canyons. 4 weeks, then months, they searched. There were moments of false hope, like the detection of underwater acoustic signals that were thought to be from the plane's black boxes, but these leads ultimately went cold. The ocean guarded its secrets fiercely. The search was a grueling, painstaking process, a search for a needle in a haystack the size of a continent. As the years passed, the official underwater search continued, becoming the most expensive in aviation history. Yet, despite the incredible technology and human effort poured into the mission, the main wreckage of MH370 remained elusive. The deep ocean floor refused to give up the plane. In 2017, after nearly 3 years, the official search was suspended, leaving the families and the world with no definitive answers. The mystery only deepened. How could a state-of-the-art aircraft simply disappear in our modern, hyper-connected world? Then, a year and a half after the disappearance, a tangible piece of the puzzle finally emerged. On the shores of Réunion Island, a French territory thousands of kilometers west of the search area, a piece of an aircraft wing washed ashore. It was a flaperon, and experts quickly confirmed it belonged to a Boeing 777. Serial numbers later proved it was from the missing flight, MH370. It was the first, and for a long time the only, physical evidence that the plane had indeed crashed into the Indian Ocean. Over the following months and years, more pieces of debris, confirmed or believed to be from the aircraft, were found on the coastlines of Mozambique, Tanzania, and Mauritius, carried by the powerful ocean currents. These scattered fragments confirmed the tragic end of the flight but did little to explain the why or the how. They were echoes of a disaster, but they couldn't tell the full story. The core of the mystery, the main wreckage and the crucial flight recorders, the so-called black boxes, remained lost in the abyss. Without them, we may never know what happened in the cockpit during those final, silent hours. Was it a catastrophic mechanical failure? A deliberate act by the pilots? A hijacking? The theories are numerous, but the evidence is scarce. The story of MH370 ends not with a resolution, but with a lingering, profound question mark. We are left with the heartbreaking image of a single piece of debris on a distant shore, a solitary clue in an ocean of uncertainty. The faces of the 239 souls on board, the passengers and the crew, each with their own story, their own dreams, fade into a map of the vast, empty ocean where they were lost. Their journey ended in mystery, leaving behind a legacy of unanswered questions and a painful void for the families who still wait for answers. The world remembers Flight 370, a stark reminder of the limits of our knowledge and the enduring power of the unknown. Thank you for watching. If you found this story compelling, please consider subscribing for more deep dives into historical events.